Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Let's Get Loud podcast, solo podcast episode with a holy moly. Am I ever behind on podcasts? I am so sorry, everyone. Were you worried about me? Here I am. Here's what's been happening. Okay. First of all, cheers. Oh, you can't really see if you're watching this on YouTube, but my delicious matcha. Have I shared all my drama of matcha and coffee? Guys, I'm completely off coffee. Sometimes I try it. I had a few when I was in Dominican Republic because their coffee there is next level. I had a few then, but I keep kind of like trying. I'm like, oh, it's Saturday morning. Maybe I want a coffee. And then it just doesn't taste good anymore. It's the weirdest thing. I was like a 4 coffee a day girl. Like, where's my coffee coming from? And then all of a sudden, it just wasn't, no, not all of a sudden. It definitely wasn't cooperating with my body, was like, telling me things, but I was ignoring it. Basically, all of a sudden, I started listening to my body. So switching to matcha has been actually pretty easy. I'm not going to lie. Anyways, so last Friday, I was recovering from the trauma of my family getting the plague. The girls had the worst flu that they've ever had. They were so sick. I felt so bad. Their little bodies, I won't give you guys the details, but it was pretty traumatic. And then yesterday just got away from me. It was a PD day. I decided to go to Costco. Costco is a real, I really love-hate relationship with Costco. Not hate, that's a strong word. Like dislike relationship with Costco. I love the price. I love what I can get there. Um, I love the value, but it's just really a lot of effort. And I know I can get it on Instacart, but it just doesn't feel the same. I don't know what it is about Costco, but I want to like go there and like look. I think it's because there's not always the same things. Like sometimes there's new things. And then if I just go on Instacart, I won't know those new things exist. I mean, I know I could like look through the app, but it just doesn't feel the same. All right, that was my last sip of matcha while I'm recording a podcast. So I went to Costco. It's such a, let's talk about resources, time, money, mental energy. It does save me a lot of mental energy though, I must say. I find that it's easier to like make lunches, to cook dinners. I just like have stuff in my fridge because everything you have to buy in like bulk. So I'm like, oh, do we want Alfredo? Do we want marinara? Do we want chicken korma? Like I have the ingredients for everything. I have rice, I have noodles, I have everything available at all times. So I quite like that part. But it does just take a long time, like hours, because you drive there 20 minutes. You spend, I must say they're super efficient, 40 minutes in Costco, an hour max. Then you drive home. Guys, we're over the 1 hour mark. We're like an hour and a half at this point. And then putting everything away, well, that requires quite a lot of energy. I like pre-portioned everything. So I take the meat and I portion it into like 3 different bags and put it in the freezer. And do you know what I did this time? We bought chocolate covered almonds last time, and I'm like, those are delicious, but those went really fast. And that's a really big bag. It's just so easy to grab a handful, and chocolate covered almonds are incredibly delicious. However, extremely energy dense. Like you'd be shocked at how many calories are in one handful, like 250 depending on your handful, of course. So I pre-portioned everything. I did chocolate covered almonds and chocolate covered blueberries. And I think that's going to be a good strategy for us. So it just like takes a long time. And because it's so much food, I always like clean out my fridge, clean out my pantry, and then I put it in. Anyways, that got away from me. Then Alfie is trying out for Team New Brunswick football. And they had a tryout in Sackville, and Neil was supposed to take him, but Neil was in Fredericton yesterday, and he had driven 2 hours home in the rain, and he was like too tired. He was like, I'm not going to make it. So I'm like, okay, I'll take him. So, anyways, that's where my time went yesterday. I was going to record my podcast when the boys were gone, but here we are. Whew, that's my update on my life. Um, Besides that, everything's going great. Loving the sunshine, loving that it's light out sooner. Loving the movement I'm doing right now. I just upped my weights routine. I'm doing 5 days a week now. I haven't actually made it the whole way through my first week's routine. I need to finish up today and tomorrow. But so 5 days a week, which is kind of crazy because I started with 3 and 3 felt hard. I really must say I was really smart about how I integrated this into my routine. Like I knew, like I just said, 3 days. And then when that felt easy, I was like, okay, I'm ready for 4 days. And then when that felt easy, I was like, okay, I'm ready for 5 days. We'll see how I feel about 5 days. Also, she gave me 3 leg days. Like, pardon me. Maybe I didn't clarify. But I was like, let's do 5 days instead of four, same focus, which I had told her I wanted to really focus on like building muscle. And your lower body is like the bigger muscle. So like more that requires more energy to build it. And she really took that seriously. So we'll see how I feel about 3 leg days a week. And I'm also really enjoying walking still, especially with this nicer weather. So I've been out and, walking with my vest. So things are good. I'm feeling really, really good. I'm still struggling right now with, as I'm saying that, I'm like, oh, I have like basically like tennis elbow in my elbow from holding my phone. It's all a phone related injury. And then also related to my phone, I'm going like this with my neck too much, and it's creating incredible tension here. And my muscle, if you touch my muscle right there, it's like a rock. And then that's pulling on the nerves that are hurting right here. So that's my only real current ailment. That's the only thing I can really complain about. I just like, apparently I had to update you on all the things. And why am I wearing my pajamas? Maybe you're wondering, why are you wearing your pajamas, Alicia? Well, Saturday morning, and I wanted to just come downstairs and do this podcast and then move on with my day. The girls have their very first basketball game. The girls are playing on the same team. It's the first time they played on the same team, and it's the first time Piper's played like at a competitive level. So girls are nervous, but super excited. Okay, so let's get into it. So today I wanted to talk about, I'm going to take one more drink of matcha. So good. Today we're going to talk about your framework. So right now I am building out the content for the 10 weeks to thrive. And week 3 is all about your framework for success. So it's basically about how to create your way. So if you've been a listener for a while, you know that we do not tell you what to do at Your Way Weight Loss. We arm you with the information that in order to create weight loss, you need to create a calorie deficit, and that can look 1 million different ways. And because it can look a million different ways, we want to leverage that fact and make your way the priority, because your way is the one you're going to be most consistent with. And consistency is what is going to get you results. Okay. And I know, and people are like, people struggle with that. And I think it's because the diet industry has told you, no, you have to do this. This is the best way. You should do this. You're doing that wrong. Nothing gets me more. It took me a really long time to realize why I don't want to say didn't like, that's mean. Okay, I'm going to tell you something, a secret. I need to find something. Mel Robbins rubs me the wrong way. Okay. And I like couldn't figure out why. I had listened to, I don't think I listened to the Let Them, but I listened to, maybe I did, on audio. Anyways, either her podcast or Let Them I was listening to. Okay. Wait, I need to get this podcast title. And maybe I'm just being ridiculous because of the podcast title, but this is what really made me realize, okay. Wait, I just saw it. It's coming, it's coming. Sorry guys. It's gonna be worth it because it's a part of my point here. Ah, how women should eat and exercise for health, fat loss, and energy. Who listening to this knows why I don't like that sentence? How women should eat and exercise for health, fat loss, and energy. I do not, why are you telling women what they should do? We have spent too many years as women being told what we should do. That is damaging. I'm sorry. I know maybe you feel like this is intense, but that is damaging. We need to stop telling people what they should be doing. Arm people with information and then let people choose what aligns with their own resources. You could listen, what what's the word? When it's the perfect situation, it's the optimal. The optimal formula for health and wellness and weight loss has long been out there. That's not what people are missing. People are not missing information. People are missing implementation. And people are not going to implement something because Mel Robbins tells them they should. All that's going to do is create shame and guilt and feelings of unworthiness when people do not have the resources or bandwidth to do what they should do. So I feel pretty strongly about not telling people what they should be doing. Who am I to say what you should be doing? Again, I sit in the space where I'm going to provide you with information and then you choose what you do with it. And here's the thing, as human beings, we are complicated. So even if I provide you the information and I say, okay, you want to lose weight or you want to be your healthiest, do this. People are like, okay. It's still hard because they're implementing habit and lifestyle changes. And that's hard. That's difficult. That doesn't just happen like that, right? We're not robots. And that's why that upsets me. So, okay, coming back to it. So, we're talking about building our framework. And I just wanted to have a quick chat with you guys about this. So, I need you guys to get out of your brain that there's anything you should do, anything you have to do. So, a lot of the shoulds come from society, diet culture. It also comes from past experiences. So, perhaps you in the past counted calories and you lost weight. You're like, oh, I have to lose weight, or I should count calories to lose weight. That's a limiting belief. You didn't lose weight because you counted calories. You lost weight because you created a calorie deficit. That was a tool that you were using. Did you continue with that tool? How's that going now? There's a reason you stopped. Okay. I should exercise. I have to exercise. Let's take all of that out. Literally, I want you guys to start literally blank slate. Okay. When you're building your framework. And then I want you to think about your values, your resources, and your environment. So let's quickly touch on this. So I'm going to be, if you're a member listening to this, I'm going to be coaching specifically to this upcoming week on Thursday's coaching session, and it will be more detail. So resources, time, money, mental energy. Are you someone with a lot of time? If you are, maybe meal prepping is a great strategy for you. Making things from scratch, moving your body, right? You have lots of extra time. Money, if you have extra money, maybe you're someone that does a meal prep service or you pay for someone to chop your vegetables. Okay. So that's like money. Okay. Mental energy. So maybe you're like, you have a lot of time to plan your meals and make sure there's variety and prepare. So where are you at? Do you have extra time, money, mental energy? Okay. And if you're like, oh, I have none of those. Okay, that's fine. We need to keep things simple then. If you're like, I'm really struggling with not having this resource or that resource, and I also need to give you guys a little pep talk, little CEO mindset pep talk. Weight loss is accessible to you no matter where your resource level is. Okay. Look at Oprah, the richest woman on earth. Money unlocks these other things. Let's be honest. Time, you can pay someone else to do everything. Money, not a problem. Mental energy, you're paying someone to do all the mental energy. Okay. She struggled with her weight for years, years and years and years and years and years, and she had all the resources. So please do not be naive to think if I had more time, if I had more money, if I had more mental energy, I would unlock this. That's bullshit. That is a lie you're telling yourself. That is a limiting belief. You are actually in that conversation with yourself. You are protecting yourself from the feeling that you have yet to achieve what you want to achieve, and you're looking for a reason. And you know what? That thought is just not getting you closer to your goal. I always like to challenge people to think back to times where they had more resources. So let's say like before I had kids, all the time in the world was really struggling with my weight. It wasn't time. Time wasn't the secret. There actually is no secret. So we need to make sure that we're not putting too much emphasis on that. So that's resources, okay? And then let's talk about values. What do you value? Not what do you think that you should value? What do you value? Do you value nutrient dense food? Do you value eating with your family? Do you value variety in your food, texture, taste? Do you value minimally processed? Like, what do you actually value? That should be included in your framework, okay? And this might be a good exercise for you guys. Just write some stuff down. Just journal. Don't just let it go. And then the other one is your environment. So your environment plays a factor because do you work from home? Do you work from the office? Do you work shifts? Do you have kids? Do you have a spouse? Like, what other obligations do you have? What is your environment like? That's going to also play a part when it comes to the framework of how you eat, how you nourish your body, because we can't just expect for you to like do this, but then you have an environment that's like so hard to fit into. Like if I told you you needed to eat every 3 hours, this is why I just hate it when people are like the best way, you should do this, you have to do this. Let's say eating every 3 hours. Okay. Let's say you're a doctor, you're a surgeon, and you're in surgery. You can't eat every 2 hours. Okay. So you already think, oh, not possible for me because I can't do that. I mean, maybe there's definitely other jobs. You work a call center job, like where you can't just like shove a granola bar in your mouth, like literally just call after call after call. You think it's not accessible to you. Okay. And I never want people to feel like it's not accessible to them because it is. And it's our thoughts that are holding us back from actually being successful. Okay. So I want you to think about your environment. And when you're starting to build your framework, I want you to think, will that fit with my environment? Or will that just be like, oh, maybe I could do that. That's going to be hard, but maybe I'll figure it out. No, find a way that works with your environment. Okay, next thing. So we have our resources, we have our values, we have our environment. Now we're going to think about our framework. Okay. I like to start with just, I want you to wake up. I want you to think about waking up and you have the perfect day, the ideal day when it comes to your nutrition. So for me, it'd be like, I wake up, I eat half a Mama Tea cookie, I go to the gym, I have another half of Mama Tea cookie when I come back, and I have my coffee, and then I have 4 other meals, 3 to 4 other meals. Protein is prioritized, minimally processed is prioritized, reduce things like chocolate, and drink tons of water, and no alcohol, and asleep by 10. Okay. Oh, and a little walk at lunchtime. That's my ideal day. That is the framework for my ideal day. If I did that every single day, I would achieve my goal of putting on muscle. Done. Okay. I want you guys to sit with what's my ideal day. Now, don't get distracted by Alicia's ideal day. You don't have to drink matcha. You do not have to lift weights. You do not have to go for a walk. First of all, what is even your goal? My goal is to increase my muscle mass, get stronger. Okay. What's your goal? Is it weight loss? Is it maintenance? Is it healing your relationship with food? What is your current focus right now? Goal. And then build your ideal day that, like, yes, if I did that day, I would achieve my goal. Now, pause. We also need to look at that day and say to yourself, once you've built that framework, you say, does that align with my values? Totally does mine. Does that align with my environment? Totally does mine. Would I feel satisfied? Will I feel happy after living out a day like that consistently? Yes. So that's how I know that's the right framework for me right now. Right now, in 1 year from now, who knows where I'm going to be at? Who knows what my focus is? Maybe I'm a vegan. Okay. And that's okay. People evolve and change. Don't feel like you're locking this in forever. Get curious. Sometimes we're so like stringent that we're so afraid to start something new because we're like, oh, I don't want to fail at that. Like, what if I don't like that? Then you change it, you adjust, but get curious and try things. Try something different. Okay. So we've thought about our values, we've thought about our resources, we've thought about our environment, we've built out a framework of how often I would eat, kind of the composition of what I would eat, and we've checked in with ourselves to make sure it fits with our environment, our resources, and our values. And we've also asked ourselves the question, if I was consistent with that ideal day, would I get closer? Would there be progress towards my goal? The answer is yes, you've hit your perfect framework. But you're not done yet. Now you're going to ask yourself, how could I make that more accessible? How can I make that simpler? How can I make that easier? And that's when that's when the habit piece kicks in. So step one is really thinking of the framework. And then step two is us building habits around the framework. to allow that framework to just like flow and become the easiest thing ever. So for me, it's like having protein cooked in my fridge and or easily to cook in the air fryer. Okay. For me, mostly it's just having it in my home and having it in my home quickly. That's what sets me up for success. Okay. Going to bed early sets me up for success to get up at 5 a.m. to go to the gym, which is a part of my framework. I set out all my stuff the night before. I set out my cookie. I set out my pre-workout. I set out my clothes. That helps me to get up and get out the door quickly. I've already set it out. I've already decided I'm doing it. It's important to me to eat with my family, but I also want to prioritize protein, nutrient dense. So what sets me up for success is having meal planned on a Sunday. Okay. So I kind of know what's going on. I always take time to check in with myself every day though. Often my meals change. Do you guys find this is so Alicia? Because I lean in so hard to things. If I plan like pasta and like a warm casserole, and then all of a sudden it's 20 degrees, I can't serve that casserole. I can't. That's a cold meal. Like that's a meal you have on a cold day. I need to switch it to barbecue. Okay. So often in the morning when I'm journaling, I'll think about what's for dinner that night and I'll make any tweaks and adjustments. And I already kind of in my brain, I'm like, okay, I'd like to have that instead. And I kind of tweak it and adjust it to make it fit my framework. Okay. But that's because I have that resource of time in the morning to sit and think. You might not have that resource. You might just have to stick with your plan. Okay. You might not have the privilege of flexibility. I do. I didn't always when my kids were younger, when I was working full time outside of the home. I just didn't have that privilege. It doesn't mean though that that's the reason I'm successful. It just means I've created a system where I use my resources appropriately. Okay? At the end of the day, guys, the biggest piece for you is that you look at this from a CEO mindset. These are my resources. How can I make the most of them? I'm going to build a framework. I'm going to build habits around it. I'm going to adjust as I go. I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to figure this out. I want this. This is worth it to me. I want to age independently. I want to wake up at 5 a.m. every day and go till 10 p.m. every day with the amount of energy that I deserve to go through my day. Boom. Okay. Worth it. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. I hope this encourages you to spend some time journaling and thinking about what is your ideal day. Guys, if you're waking up every single day and you're kind of scrambling through your day and you're expecting results, you're going to be disappointed. Create a framework, create a system, create habits to support the systems and to support the framework, and consistency will just follow. And with consistency comes results. One last thing. You don't need to be perfect. The goal of the framework is not for you to follow it every single day perfectly. The goal is for you to be consistent with it, and consistency is not perfection. So please do not think if you do not follow your framework every single day, you failed or you cannot unlock success. If you have built your framework properly, you will be consistent and you will get results from consistency and not perfection. Perfection is not required for progress. Okay, I don't know about you guys, but I think this podcast has been worth the wait. Okay, thank you for letting me podcast. No makeup, jammies on, Saturday morning vibes. I hope you guys have an incredible weekend. You guys know my DMs are always open. If you have if anything connected with you, if you have any questions, or you just want to share with me your framework, DMs are always open. Okay, Alicia_YWWL on Instagram is where I hang out the most. Okay, bye guys. Have an amazing weekend.